Okay, dear ones, let us begin. Today we are softly moving into some Qi Gong movements and then finishing with some nice, nourishing, long, slow, deep yin postures. So today is the fire element. Let's take our feet about hip width apart, soft knees, a little tuck of the tailbone so it's pointing towards the earth. And let's take our standing meditation posture to just ground in, feel into the body so the fingers are loose. There's a little space between the armpits. And just looking and gazing forward. Let's begin to develop and cultivate just a nice, natural, rhythmic breath, but spreading wide all over the body as we start to work through more of the upper body today. So sweeping all the way up, filling the lungs. Through the arm lines is the heart and small intestine are the meridian channels we're working with today. So lots of opening through the fingertips, the wrists, the arms, the chest, and the back body. So let's just feel into where we are today. Ensuring that throughout the practice, if you need to take space, come to a resting position, ensuring that you're really tuning into your body's needs. And let's place the hands over the heart. You can close the eyes here and feel into the space in and around your heart. As we move through the layers of the fire element, it invokes us to bring in more spaciousness, more softness, joy, happiness, gratitude into our inner being. So we'll take a little inner smile to the heart. The color is red. And the heart has 4 channels, the meridians that flow throughout the body, which is the heart meridian, the small intestine, the triple heater, and the pericardium, all running through the arms. So a big focus today on opening and expanding through this space. And let us begin with some warming up movements. So taking the arms out wide, we'll take little fists here, but they're very loose and soft. And we will, again, have soft knees here. There's always the energy heading towards the earth through the lower body. And we'll open up wide here. So spreading your wings nice and wide, a little back bend if that's available. And then we'll curl forward, flexing the spine. So it's an extension as we marry the breath to this movement. Breathing in and breathing out as we expand and open. So expansion and contraction. Just warming into the upper body, into the spine. Just moving at your own pace. You can close the eyes and just feel into what's happening through the body. You can take that inner smile and gaze into the heart as you open. And then you softly close, and we're protecting inward, as that is the nature of life and the cosmos itself. It's always in a state of expansion and then has the moments of contraction. Let's do 3 more of those. The sound of the fire element is laughing. So lots of smiling and laughing today. And coming back in. Just allowing that to all settle. And let's bring some energy into the fingertips. And let's take some flicks down towards the earth. And you can create a little bouncing motion into the knees here. And out to the screen or outside, wherever you're practicing today. Out to the sides. Up to the heavens. Again, nice big smile. Out to the sides again. to the front, and then we return any stagnant energy to the earth to be recycled, to be transformed. So any stuckness, any tension, any hatred, impatience, all of these other sides of the fire element that we want to transform into love, compassion. So out to the side, joy and happiness. We do that by opening the body, by loosening off, by softening our heart, by smiling out to the world, regardless of what is happening outside, externally, not allowing that to be digested through your inner environment, out to the side, to the front. And one more as we recycle it all down to the earth. And then just come to stillness for a moment, feeling into all the energy that's running through your hands and arms, pulsating. And let's begin our first movement. So we'll work on a practice called parting clouds. So again, you start with feet about hip width apart, arms down by the side, and we're bringing the arms up to about shoulder height. And then the elbows bend and the palms are facing up. We come in towards the body. So the pinky finger, where the heart and the small intestine meridian travels through, that's coming inward. They gently touch. Then we flip the palms over at the heart and we're parting the clouds outward. So any cloudiness around the heart, and then we return back to the starting point. Let's inhale up. Flip the palms, come inward as we draw in. Exhale. We flip around. Inhale and we part. And exhale, return. So do that nice and slowly. We're flipping around, we're bending. We draw the energy inward. And then we press it out. The fire element is the sun. So we're literally spreading the clouds apart to invite more light and sunshine in. Very gentle but powerful movement and practice. Think about that. Anything that's kind of covering, protecting, or clouding the heart, we're gently encouraging it to part ways. So we can allow more light, more love, more sunshine into our heart. And we can therefore give that out and spread it out openly into the world. Beautiful. Let's do 3 more of those. Very gentle. The elbows stay soft. We draw the energy into the heart. And then we're expressing that loving energy and parting anything in the way out. Beautiful. So it's more about this spaciousness that we're encouraging, this graciousness through these beautiful movements of Qi Gong. Let's do one more. Gliding away. And then just a return to center. Now, parting clouds turns into separating clouds. So it's almost like you're taking off your shirt. Your arms are crossing. Again, we're opening these channels through the arm lines. And we're separating all the clouds around. And then you can cross the opposite hand. And you just keep a little space between your arms. This circular movement. Again, the tailbone is tucking downward. We're lifting and creating space as we circle around. And we'll just do a couple more of those. Parting clouds, if you can imagine that again. Up into the sky on a cloudy grey day. We actually have that power to change our outer environment with our attitude, or how we see the world outside of us. Our attitude towards the external environment creates our inner environment and what we experience. Beautiful. Now we come into the blooming lotus. So we're going to create this beautiful lotus mudra with the hands. This is the position where we'll begin right at the heart. And again, we're touching those two channels where the heart and the small intestine run through the pinky finger here. So we begin at the heart. We bloom upward. Think about a lotus spreading its wings. So the palms are facing out now. We take a little bend into the knees as we return home to the heart, touching the pinky finger together and the thumb and creating that beautiful lotus shape. And we gaze up as we bloom our lotus, and then we return down, gazing upon through the muddy waters. This beautiful flower grows. Nature is our beautiful teacher in that way, that even out of the darkest corners or the muddiest waters, these beautiful flowers, color, vibrance, and life grows and is birthed from the darkness into the light. And honoring those parts of ourselves that we have these deep, dark places within us. And it's actually where our gifts are residing, inside that shadow, inside that darkness, if we're willing to gaze inward. And let's do 3 more of those. Sometimes it's not an easy journey. But again, it's our attitude, it's our how, it's our why in life. And let's do 1 more of those as we move through the dark, muddy waters beneath. We rise that energy up through the sunshine of the heart, allowing it to be bloom and birthed into the world. Beautiful. Now we come into the floating crane. So we'll take the heels together and turn the feet outward. Beautiful. And it's a pretty simple movement. We're going to take all of our fingers together and meet them at the thumb in these little crane beaks. So we have our foot position. Now we start with our just fingers relaxed and we bring them together. And as we raise up, we sit down into, so that again, the pelvis is turning downward towards the earth. We're not leaning forward or back. We bring our crane beaks up to about shoulder height. And then a little flick of the wrists as we rise back up. And we begin again, we create our little crane beaks. We start to dip down as we raise the arms up to shoulder height. We gently let go. It's really great for the wrists, this exercise. We're building some subtle strength through the lower body. And it's all about graciousness here and poise. And this is really the essence of the fire element. Again, when we transform any of those other darker qualities of impatience, of hatred, of distrust, and we exchange those, we transform them into unconditional love, into acceptance, into compassion. and we transform more of that yang energy into a soft yin, gracious energy. Good, let's do 3 more of those. Floating cranes. Breath is natural. It's effortless. Beautiful, and return. Now we're moving down into our yin practice, so we will take the feet a little bit wider. Now let's bring that lotus down to the ground. If you feel okay with squatting down, let's circle the arms up, create that lotus, come down towards the earth now. Now you can place one hand on the earth and then the other rises. So we just play with a little bit of mobility through the hips here and bringing these beautiful flowing arm movements into this squat position. So just changing over from one side to the other, spreading your wings nice and wide from one side to the other. Beautiful. And one more on each side, opening through the heart space. Slowly returning to center and come onto all fours, hands and knees. Let's take it into a few little movements through the spine here. So tuck the toes and let's start to curl the spine. So extending, pulling the shoulders down and back. And then we'll exhale, pull the navel to the spine and press through the palms. Through the center of your palms is a very powerful point called the Qi Gong point. It's a point on the pericardium, which is the heart protector. It's literally a little sac around the heart that envelops it, protects it, nourishes it. Let's go down into extension again here. And so this powerful point that we're pressing into the earth here is a powerful healing point that we all have. We all have powerful healing abilities. It's just remembering that we are these energy beings and that we can tap into that power. The more subtle we start to become, the more soft we become. So continue with a few of those movements at your own pace, just exploring your spine and pressing that loving energy through the center of the palm to the earth beneath, connecting these elements. And then slowly come to center. Let's come into our first longer hold of our yin postures. So we'll take the right hand up to the sky here. On the exhale, feed it through underneath that left arm. And we'll place the shoulder down. You might need to use a prop or a block or something here. You can place your right ear to the mat or your forehead. You can walk your left arm forward or leave it where it is. We're looking for an opening here through that right side of the shoulder, the outer edge of the arm, where the small intestine meridian channel lies. So we get a nice, beautiful opening through the shoulder joint here. And we're pausing here. We're breathing. We are remaining present. And we're scanning through the body to give permission to all parts to become soft and relaxed rather than holding. There's a melting. This fullest expression of this pose is called melting heart, and that's really our purpose of yin, is to melt the tissues, is to create spaciousness within the very depths of our being, which opens our perceptual awareness to things outside of ourselves. So let's breathe into that space. Let's focus on the opening rather than the tension that we might be feeling when we place our awareness there. You can also take a different position with this left arm. It could travel behind and on the back, just resting. And we'll just take about 5 or so more breaths here. We'll now place that left hand down. Come back and we'll take a closed knee child's pose as a rebound, a resting position. So just resting the arms down by the side, curling yourself up in a little ball or taking any other position that suits your body. And we allow that spaciousness to be felt and experienced in between the postures. We gently rise up to all fours once again. And now we come into Anahatasana, melting heart. So for this one, you may need a bolster or a block underneath your head, some kind of support. So we walk forward now and we lower the chest down. We maintain the hips above the knees. This is where we may need to have a block under the head. We may need to take the arms wider and bend the elbows. If you have a little bit more flexibility, your arms perhaps are a little more straight, and maybe the head comes down, or maybe even the heart and the chest touches the earth and the chin is forward. So we want to explore around with some different position, definitely opening the arms and bending the elbows, especially if there's any pinching in the shoulder joint. Be very mindful of this posture if there is anything happening in the shoulders. And find your own variation within this posture. The idea here is to open through the chest and the shoulder joint, the arm lines, and gently rest in that space the best you can. It's not an easy posture to remain still. However, that is the purpose of our practice here, to enable that change to be created beneath the skin, to come into a place of complete stillness and surrendering. And a softening into the moment. Often we're so focused on what is next, ticking off the to-dos, the list that just keeps getting grander and grander. And we often remove ourselves from what is present, what is right here, right now. So this practice is an invitation to simply be present, the gift of the moment. That's why it's called present. Let's take 5 more breaths here. Slowly, very gently move back into closed knee child's pose or on the belly, whatever suits you. Take a moment and a pause to rest the arms. Take a deep breath in and out. And slowly come back to all fours. Let's take our thread the needle position on the left side now. So the right arm is forward, the left arm you can raise up and then sweep underneath. Curling, resting the left shoulder down, keeping the knee above the hips. And then just finding your own position with your arm, whether you stretch the right arm forward, rest it on the lower back. Again, whatever works for you, to get the purpose of the pose to open and lengthen through the outer arm. Take a few deep breaths to settle into the stillness. And then allow the breath to gently dissolve. The breath is definitely a beautiful tool to use in our practice to remain present. It's also a way to tap into our rest and digest, our parasympathetic nervous system, coming into that alpha state, which is very healing by really slowing it all down. Even to a point where you can barely feel or sense the breath. It's just a very gentle whisper. It's a very soft, flickering flame of a candle sitting in the back of the room. Light. It's illuminating. And it doesn't mean it has to be at the forefront of your experience. And simply be in the background for you to tap into even more subtle realms within the body, within the energy. Slowly start to move out. Take as much time as you need. Come back to child's pose or on the belly. Take a moment of stillness and silence. Then slide down onto your belly if you're not already there. Roll over onto your back. Take the soles of your feet together. Left hand on the heart, right hand on the belly. Create a nice diamond shape with your legs, opening to the many facets of life, the many colors, spectrums, parts of you, archetypes, relationships. And if you can imagine a diamond, it has many different angles, colors, reflections, spectrums, just as we do within the nature of our being. Let's take a couple of deep breaths here. And then tune into the lower dantian here, where your right hand is placed just below the navel. Just breathing into that lower part. Now moving the breath simply up to your left hand. And the breath now just breathes into the left hand over the heart. And now we'll link those two parts of the breath together. The breath begins at the lower part of the abdomen, and the breath travels like an arc up to the heart. So on the in-breath, it travels up this arc of light energy into the heart, and then it circles back around on the exhale from the heart to the lower part of the belly. And although this energy, this light is in the shape of an arc, it's never ending. So allowing the breath to be never ending, continuous, this stream of light connecting this lower energy center to the center of your heart. And then very gradually allow the breath to soften. Perhaps the arc of light that connects the lower center to the heart center just begins to fade, become soft as the breath starts to slow down. The awareness is resting on these two places, the lower dantian and the heart center, the middle dantian. And the breath begins to come even more softer. Until you can barely feel the hands moving, the belly rising, the heart lifting. And within this stillness is where all of the answers lie. any question that you may have. The answer is resting in the center of the heart, in the stillness of the moment. Feel free to rest in this space for as long as you would like, just practicing the arc of energy and light and connection within you. And I thank you all for practicing with me today. Namaste.